Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox, and this is my daughter.
Hello.
So, throughout, and we can say you're my youngest child, right?
Yes.
Throughout my children's adulthood, they occasionally contact me and say, thanks, Dad, for things I've done in the past. Things I've given them, things I've taught them, and she who shall not be named said, hey, she's been bugging me for a little while. You should do a video on things fathers should teach their children. Did I get that right?
Yes.
And so...
Things that fathers probably haven't taught their children.
And why do you think fathers probably haven't taught their children these things?
Because a lot of the people I meet, especially young adults like myself or even at the high school age, don't know how to do really simple things that they probably should. And I think it's because their fathers didn't teach them to do those things. Not everyone has a dad like I do.
And is it safe to say you're a millennial?
Yes, me and all my siblings are in the millennial age cohort.
Okay. So, do you want me to talk about them, or do you want to talk about them? Do you want me to announce them, or do you want to announce them?
I can announce them.
Okay, so the first thing that fathers should teach their daughters
And sons.
and sons, definitely,
Their children, is how to throw a punch properly.
how to throw a proper punch. Now, here's what we're thinking. She who shall not be named told me, you should do videos on each of these things and show how to do them. And so, for these 5 things that fathers should teach their children, if there's... Oh, shh, we're not going to tell them we're doing another 5 later. For these 5 things, if there's interest on Patreon, I'll do a video on them. Probably separate videos on each. But the first one is how to properly throw a punch. So you've run into people who don't know how to do that?
Right, and actually the one where I've bumped against this one, because I'm not a brawler, is with acting, and you have kids trying to stage act, throw a realistic punch, forget about it.
Forget about it.
God forbid you ever actually need to throw one, but even in something as simple as that, you need to know how to throw a good punch.
Okay, so, yeah, I agree. My dad, looking through your list, my dad taught me most of these things.
My dad taught me these things.
All right, so number 2, I'll do number 2.
Mm-hmm.
How to properly handle a knife from, like you told me earlier, basic tasks from paring a potato.
Yep, excuse me.
To, you okay?
Yeah, burping, drinking fizzy
To
water.
what else? Self-defense?
Self-defense would be a good one. Even basic knife safety, like saying thank you when you hand it back and not, handing it blade first and cutting away from yourself. Like really basic stuff that kids don't know how to do and young adults don't know how to do.
And your older sister said something about this recently.
Yes, she teaches, and one of her students was asking how do you cut the skin off the apple. Didn't know how to do it, was cutting towards themselves, was holding the knife wrong. Really
Now,
simple
right now,
stuff.
there's people whose heads are exploding on YouTube because
Right.
you said she's a teacher. You said student and knife in the same. You're giving them the idea that a student had a knife in school. He did. It's a country school out in the sticks, in the boonies, and they let the kids carry knives to school. Maybe not by official policy, but the school you went to high school in let your sister carry a real sword around all day for Pirate Day. Go figure. So, how to throw a punch, how to properly handle a knife.
Number 3 is how to start a fire, and we were taught this, my siblings and I, when we were probably like 6 or 7. Really simple, basic stuff, but you would be surprised at the number
Amazed, low, dismayed.
of people that I bumped into in college, especially young men who don't know what they're doing and want to start a log on fire with the fighter fluid, and it's just not correct. That's not how you do it. And you should know how, and you should know how to do it properly.
Our next training event that we have here at Shofar Mountain, and I haven't even told them the specifics, but one of the things we're going to do is have everybody start a little fire. Men, women, children, teens, whatever, everyone's going to start a fire. So we're doing a class on that. All right, so how to throw a punch, how to properly handle a knife, how to start a fire. I'll let you tell them because they won't believe that you came up with this, not me.
Number 4 is how to skin an animal, and that's if you ever have to. I understand not everybody hunts and everything, but it's a good thing to know. And if you're going to dissect an animal in science class, it's a similar thing, and it's just something you should know how to do. God forbid, if you ever have to, you should know what the heck you're doing, because you don't want to ruin the meat by doing it wrong.
Correct. Because the response to the people who say, I would never eat anything with a face, is
You buy it at the supermarket.
if God didn't want you to eat meat, no, if God didn't want you to eat animals, why did he make them out of meat? Something like that. All right, number 5.
Is
Yeah, this is important.
how to give a good handshake, and this one is important for men and women. And again, we were taught this when we were probably like 6, and practice going forwards. It's really important when you're making a first impression that you don't give the limp fish. You don't want to do that one.
Yeah, you know, I've gotten to the point where when I meet young men and boys, and I usually extend my hand to shake their hand, say, how you doing? If they don't do it right, I usually correct them.
Their father should have done that, so my father didn't have to.
Right. I shouldn't have to, but I do because, yeah, it's important. All right, so those are the 5 things a dad should teach his kids, male and female, boys
Your
and girls.
father should have taught you to do these things.
Oh, yes, there you go. Your dad should have taught you to do these things. And if there's interest on Patreon, I'll do videos on each one of them. And she who shall not be named alluded to, there may eventually be another 5 things your father should have taught you. All right, I'll see you out there.